debate on amendments be extended by 30 minutes. Are we all agreed? We are all agreed, thank you. I now call MichelleThomson to speak to Amendment 39 and other amendments in the group.
First of all, I'll point out I shall only speak to my Amendment 39 in this group, and I feel that the case of the other amendments linked to it has been put very eloquently by Russell Finlay. First of all, for the record, can I state that I cannot begin to imagine the angst that trans people suffer, and I offer an open heart to those who wish to live with dignity and respect in their chosen gender. My biggest concern about this bill is regarding bad faith actors, about whom the First Minister herself has also recognised concerns. My amendment talks specifically to men applying for a GRC who have been charged with a sexual offence but not yet convicted and placed on the Sexual Offenders Register. It does indeed simply seek to pause an application for a GRC until any court case has been resolved. In Stage 2, and again today, Russell Finlay pointed out that a woman could end up having to refer to her attacker as she. Do the people in this chamber understand how that could indeed represent an opportunity for abusers to exert power and control over their victims? Now, my first point concerns risk. Risk involves both probability and outcome. The probability of the situation I depict occurring is low. But if it were to occur, the outcome on the victim could be devastating. Now, because of my own history, I still suffer from post-traumatic symptoms. Feelings of desperation can resurface, sometimes with a sudden need to sleep. I can have lost days of depression. I can have an acute need to feel safe. I have bouts of anxiety. Such has been the distress caused by this bill, I had to go home one day in floods of tears and withdraw from a debate. Now, Presiding Officer, I am not looking for sympathy. I have privilege. I have agency. The impact of trauma falls hardest on the weakest, the poor and the disenfranchised. I have a voice. They don't. Who in the past 6 years has spoken for them? My second point is that in those 6 years, the Scottish Government has not undertaken or published any qualitative impact assessment on traumatised women. The committee failed to meet with female sexual survivors, creating further distress. Now, I thank the Cabinet Secretary for our meetings, I really do, but I must comment further. I know my amendment will be opposed by the Government on, as yet, untested legal grounds. My final point concerns the recent case, won by the Scottish Government, where they argued that a man with a GRC becomes a woman for all purposes. The logical extension of this position is that the Scottish Government also regard a man who's been convicted of rape or sexual assault as a woman for all purposes. Is that really the Government view? And what message does it send to women? Does the Government understand they are putting the rights of a GRC-seeking man charged with sexual assault or rape above the rights of the woman who is the victim? Now, one solution was for the Registrar-General to question whether the applicant had been charged with a sexual offence. But I was informed that this could send a message that all trans people were sexual predators, and we all agree that's ridiculous. But the reasoning is also ridiculous. Most insurance companies ask about criminal convictions, not because they believe that all those seeking insurance are criminals, but because it is directly relevant to risk. Presiding Officer, I leave all colleagues and the Scottish Government to answer the question posed by Roddy Dunlop KC. He said, and I quote, "I can conceive of no sensible basis upon which this amendment might be rejected. This would not affect trans rights in any way. It would merely stop those rights being abused by men who are not trans. Why would one want to aid and abet such men? I move the amendment.
Thank you, Ms Thompson. I now call Gillian Martin to speak to Amendment 40 and other amendments in the group. Ms Martin.
Thank you, Presiding